Before we begin, I would like to advertise my books, Above Heaven and Dance of Frozen Death. If you like my takes on storytelling, please consider giving them a read. Links in the description. Now, on with the video.
Oh, man. That was totally wicked!
I still find the discourse between Miles Morales and Peter Parker as Spider-Man to be interesting. After all, there's a lot of content with Miles lately. Across the Spiderverse and the Spider-Man 2 game comes to mind, both of which I like. I have no problems with Miles Morales, especially the Spider-Verse version where he's actually interesting, and his beginning is different from Peter Parker's, something that I can't see in the many different variations of this character. Man, they just need to stop with this foolishness and make Spider-Verse the canon version. Can we all agree on that? Is there a better version? No? Then there you go. But there's still the problem in most versions of Miles where he exists in unison with Peter Parker. They are both Spider-Man in the same universe, and the problem is still the same. Do you remember in school when two kids had the same first name, so the teacher would address them with their last initials? Oh, that's John H, and over there is John B, because no one knew who you were talking about if you just said John. The Spider-Verse versions make sense because they are just using each other's real names because they're all Spider people, but in a universe with two Spider-Men, you know that the populace is going to call one of them Red Spider-Man or Red Spider, and the other, well...
I don't want you to say it. Please, Sheriff, don't say it.
Based off their suit colors, people, come on, focus. And this is the real argument I want to have. How do you differentiate them in normal speech? Because we're all still at the point where people are saying Miles Morales Spider-Man. If someone just says Spider-Man, everyone thinks you're talking about Peter Parker. Even the most die-hard Miles fans will ask which one when you say Spider-Man. It's a branding issue. It hurts Miles as a character, and Marvel is not going to call him anything but Spider-Man for a long time. So either we all need to act stupid, or we just give Peter a new name at this point. Now, this might be sacrilegious, but I think that I have an idea that might work. I always believe that any idea can work as long as a writer is good enough to pull it off, and I think that we should go back to the basics here. What is the single most interesting storyline for Peter Parker that almost every single version has to go through in some way? I'll give you a hint. The Spider-Man 2 game is about it. That's right, the Symbiote. It's always been one of the best things to come out of a Spider-Man comic. People love the idea and the execution. It's John Carpenter's The Thing, but tamer. It empowers people. It draws out aggressive emotions. It's literally a perfect storytelling device, even if it's been diminished because writers are for some reason embarrassed by the space goo aspect of it. Come on, quit changing it to being lab made. We're talking about a story where people get bit by radioactive spiders. Is the alien part really something to be embarrassed about? It's fine.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently.
The symbiote is awesome. It always has been my favorite aspect of Spider-Man, but there's always been one problem. Almost every single iteration has Peter eventually get rid of the symbiote, thus leading to Venom, which is good, but also it always portrays that this was the only way to go, that Peter can't master the symbiote, that it will always make him a jackass, that if he kept it, he was doomed to become a villain, which I think is stupid. It's not like there's another Marvel hero with aggression issues that is one of my favorite characters from comic books. Instead of having Peter get rid of the symbiote, he instead has to be stuck with it. Either it comes back to him from Venom, or it never left him to begin with, preferably the former. Peter is stuck in a position where he will die without the symbiote. To live, he has to permanently bond with the alien. Now the creature can never leave him. It doesn't matter if there are high-pitched frequencies or intense flames. Peter will suffer with the symbiote. He will just crumble. But now he has the powers of the symbiote on his side, along with all the aggression and odd behavior that comes with it. There are many different angles to emphasize this. The fact that Mary Jane has moved on from Peter. The fact that people say Miles is better because Miles has more powers. Hell, the writers have given Miles a lightning sword. Soon Miles is going to have electric clones of himself. Plus, there's the fact that Peter's career is in shambles. It could all make him feel low, like he's not needed anymore, that he does need the symbiote's help to be successful, that he wants to take his own life in his own hands. Because I don't know about you, but I liked a lot of the aggressive parts when Peter had the symbiote. He gets kicked around a lot by the people in his life. It was refreshing to see him stand up for himself. The weird thing is that I never particularly saw when Peter took things too far. At worst, as a civilian for Peter, he was acting a little bit too much like a New Yorker, but it was refreshing to me. Sometimes you want to see characters lash out and turn things around on their abusers to make sure that they come out on top. I wonder if there are entire cults of personality based around this entire idea.
Oh, I'll take it from here, nurse.
And to clarify, I don't want this to be a 2 to 5 issue run, a what if, or just a spin-off. I want this to be the main storyline for years to come. I want this to be permanent for a very long time. This is who Peter Parker is now. Some people may not like it, but the storyline could be amazing. Already having experience with the symbiote, Peter knows what to expect this time. He could read philosophy, meditate, train, and do everything possible to keep his aggression from lashing out on the people he cares about. He could falter many different times, but it's about the journey of Peter mastering himself and his new powers, along with his relationship with the symbiote. I think that's a lot more interesting than what's ever going on right now with whatever this Paul storyline stuff is. Just scrap that foolishness. Instead, do something where Peter has to grow. He has to have internal debates with the symbiote. He has to have an ironclad will. He has to train and clear his mind every day. We could see him grow stronger, use his anger in the right situations, and gain complete control over his abilities. Hell, he could even help the symbiote unlock another power that involves draining energy from everyone it touches, because why not? Why not just go full anime? I mean, manga destroys comic books in sales right now. That means that they have to be doing something right. Throughout all the hardship, though, Peter could still be reaping the benefits of having the symbiote by his side. He's stronger and faster, he has more energy, he gets his work done on time. The symbiote lets him easily multitask on his personal projects. He could absorb the energy of criminals to fuel himself. At the same time, he and Miles can take turns on who's patrolling the streets. This lets him have an actual life. He could make money coding while completing his own personal experiments and inventions. He doesn't have to struggle to survive. Not to mention that he can have an actual romance arc again with an interesting female character that will lead to a fun storyline. I'm just saying, Black Cat is right there, just waiting. Drop the MJ stuff and have Peter turn his full attention to Felicia. Now that would be an interesting storyline. Symbiote whispering in his ear that stealing from the wealthy isn't that bad of a crime. Peter sticking to his morals, Black Cat jumping back and forth about what she wants out of life, all the while they grow closer and go through the usual relationship problems, just multiplied by 10 because of the vigilantism. I'm just saying, this would be at least interesting, but maybe I have a bit of a thing for forbidden romances with deep internal issues and outside factors getting in the way.
Walk out the door, you see someone that you know and they ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
And there could be a wide range of smaller tales popping up throughout this long storyline. Peter has to use the symbiote suit to appear at 2 places at once because of an accusation that he's Spider-Man, but then Peter sues the companies involved for slander. Meanwhile, people sued the new symbiote spider, or symbiote, for excessive property damage, forcing the police to try to arrest Peter, but they can never get to him. Hell, I could sit here and name dozens of different storylines involving all of his villains: the Kingpin, Green Goblin, Sandman, Lizard, Doc Ock. You could even make changes to the minor villains to make them more interesting. All the while, Miles could be having his own arc, learning to be Spider-Man, having a mentor that's annoyed all the time, being a teenage hero, living in the shadow of Peter's legacy, constantly being compared and not good enough. This type of thing would help the characters involved, and it might actually increase sales, which, if you know anything about comics, they really need some help with that right about now. Like, really need some help. It's been a long time since I felt the urge to actually buy a Marvel comic.
How could this happen to me? I made my mistakes.
I'm not saying that this would be everyone's favorite twist, but it's something different and unique, something to gain interest, to get people talking. The only problem is that great writing would have to be behind it, and you know how that goes. So we'll just have to deal with the same old arguments as usual about who Spider-Man is, while Miles is given more powers to compensate for the fact that the writers don't know what his personality is, instead of, I don't know, putting in the effort to separate him and Peter through a unique storyline which will gain interest and improve the characters. Yeah, if only. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and to keep a dialogue going in the comment section. And please consider giving my books, Above Heaven, Dance of Frozen Death, and Vows of Blood and Honor, which will be released in September, a chance. I appreciate you. Do not despair.